When non-vegans tell vegans to live and let live. I shouldn't even have to explain why that one is ironic. Hey guys, Monica here. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I wanted to talk about things that I have found ironic since becoming a vegan. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't looked up the exact definition of what irony is. I don't think I ever have. I just know kind of what it means from people using it in a sentence, so context clues. But to me, irony is kind of like an oxymoron or a contradiction, I should say. So I'm just going to name some of the things I've found to be ironic. So the first thing is being told as a child by your parents and pretty much all of society that you need to eat a lot of fruit to be healthy. And a lot is a term that's very vague and it's different from person to person, but still we know as kids we're supposed to eat fruits and veggies to be healthy. But then as an adult, you're told, especially when you become vegan, that you shouldn't eat fruit or a lot of fruit because it has too much sugar. And I'm just like, what? Fruit has too much sugar? And these same people are eating donuts and they're also having their venti caramel mocha frappuccino with extra whipped cream and sprinkles, probably alongside the donuts. And I'm not criticizing anybody for eating junk food. If you've seen my channel, if you've seen my other videos, you know I love my vegan donuts. And I'm okay with junk food because personally that's only hurting me. I'm not hurting any animals or anybody else in the process. But I find it ironic when people tell me that I'm having too much sugar. Like they'll look at, I don't know, a juice or a smoothie I've drank and be like, oh my goodness, you know how much sugar is in that? And then I'm just like, again, do you know how much sugar is in your food? And it's not just junk food like donuts and ice cream and caramel macchiatos. It's in fast food. Having McDonald's, that stuff has so much sugar, fat, and salt. People don't think about that. They only think about fruit sugar being bad for some reason. So I just want to say that all sugar is not created equal. Natural fruit sugar is way different than processed refined sugar, and I'm going to have a whole video about that in the future. So to go along with what I just said, I just want to give an example. And a couple years back, I was at the grocery store. It was early in the morning before I was going to work, and I saw one of my coworkers. She was directly in front of me in line and says hi, and we talk, you know, how are you, that whole exchange. And then she looks at my arms, and I have a bunch of bananas, and they're all super ripe. And she just looks at me and she goes, what are you gonna do with all those bananas? And I'm thinking like, is this a trick question? What does anybody do with anything that they buy that's food? You eat it. I'm like, I'm gonna eat it. And then she just looks at me for the longest time, trying to comprehend how I could eat so many bananas. Like, why would you eat bananas? Like, why would you have so many? And then of course the cashier, every time, no matter who it is, they always ask me, oh, are you making banana bread? That's a question that makes sense. You know, a lot of people only buy ripe bananas when they're going to make banana bread. But I was just like, no. And then sometimes people will be like, oh yeah, I like to have ripe bananas too in smoothies and stuff, you know, even if they're not vegan. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what's up. But I feel like I think it's ironic that I get these crazy stares when I'm buying a bunch of bananas or any fruit. I buy a lot of other fruits too. And everyone's like, what are you gonna do with that? Why do you need so much fruit? But these are the same people that if I was buying nothing but frozen pizza and ice cream and French fries, they wouldn't bat an eye. They wouldn't even think twice about it. They'd be like, oh yeah, cool, you know? No one's ever made any comments to me when I was buying nothing but junk food. But as soon as I buy plant foods, healthy fruits, then all of a sudden it's like I'm unhealthy and people are concerned. Before I became vegan, I was eating fast food like 2 to 3 times a day. And everybody who knew me, family, friends, coworkers, they knew this. They never said anything or said anything of concern. But it's like as soon as you start eating fruits and vegetables, everybody loses their mind and they're so afraid for your health, and they think that you're not getting the nutrients that you need. That to me is ironic. Another thing is I find it ironic that almost everybody I've talked to, whether I've known them for a while or they're a stranger, as soon as I become vegan, all of a sudden they know all these other vegans, and I'm just like, I've been vegan like 3 years and I have rarely met another person who was vegan, and I've never had friends that were vegans. Like, I've never really known anybody who was vegan growing up. I'm like, either people are lying or they're just completely exaggerating beyond the truth, because I'm just like, where are all these vegans, and can you send them my way so we can be friends? So one of the biggest things I find ironic is people who say they love animals yet eat them. And this is a very common thing, but I remember I was at a potluck or something once, and you know, it was a party, there was a bunch of people around, and the host was talking to someone else about pets, like, oh, do you have any cats or dogs? And the other person was like, no, I don't like animals. Like, I don't have cats, dogs, I don't like animals. And so the other person, the host, she makes the statement, I love animals. And literally, she was holding a plate of meatloaf and eating and talking and saying, I love animals, while she's eating meatloaf. And I was just thinking, man, you don't love animals, you're eating one. You're saying that you love some animals, you're saying that you love pets. That's a huge difference. And as humans, in our culture, we've drawn the line of these animals are wild, we leave them alone. These animals are domesticated, they're meant to be pets. These animals are worthless, so they deserve to be food and clothing and tested on. It's a really messed up line, and I don't know where these boundaries came from, but I don't agree with them, of course, and that's why I'm vegan. Another thing I find ironic is when people get so upset and there's this like uprising of anger within people as soon as they hear a tragedy, we'll call it, like when Cecil, I think is the lion's name, when Cecil the lion was hunted down and killed for sport, everybody was outraged. I mean, I could not go on any social media without hearing people voicing their opinions and how like upset they were and how this was not unacceptable. And I'm just looking like, these are people who eat animals all the time, but they're upset about a lion. And I'm not trying to say that that lion's life was not important, because all animal lives are important to me. I'm just not saying it's more or less important than a cow or a chicken or a pig or a turkey or any other animal. To me, they're all equal. I'm not gonna love some and eat some. They're all equal. So yes, I get sad when I hear stories of animals being gunned down, but I also get sad when I hear about the billions of animals that are slaughtered every single year for no reason other than taste and convenience. That's pretty much all I can think of. That's how we justify it. And then when the law came around recently, I think before Thanksgiving, that, you know, Trump is allowing people to hunt elephants. And I don't know the whole story, but basically that came about and people were outraged again right before like 46 million people were about to sit down and eat a turkey. Doesn't make sense to me. That's ironic. Another thing I find ironic is humans testing medicine on animals to try to find a cure for a lot of diseases that could have easily been prevented by eating a healthy plant-based diet. So what I find ironic is people testing on animals to find a cure for a disease that could have essentially been prevented by not eating animals. So it's like this cycle of suffer and torment, and it's completely illogical. For what? I'm not gonna pretend that I'm like a doctor or a scientist and I'm perfect and I know everything about everything. I don't. And I know that even vegans can develop terminal diseases like cancer and diabetes, and like, we're not completely exempt from those things, but I know that not eating animals definitely lowers the risk, especially since I know things like pigs, bacon, have been classified as a carcinogen by the World Health Organization, and that eggs are high in cholesterol and you might as well just smoke 3 cigarettes. It's basically the same thing. And another thing going along with that is I never understood growing up why doctors waited until people were pretty much like of an older age and they started having health problems such as high cholesterol or having a heart attack, that they would finally say, okay, you should cut down or not eat red meat and look after your cholesterol and all that stuff. I don't want to get to that point. I want to try to prevent it or lower my risk as much as possible. And why would I wait until most of my, younger years are gone to try to make a healthy change? Why not start now? That to me is ironic. And last but not least is when non-vegans tell vegans to live and let live. I shouldn't even have to explain why that one is ironic. I'm just thinking, do people hear themselves when they talk? Did they think about what they just said? Because I overthink about everything I say and I analyze before I say it. Live and let live. That could be the very slogan of veganism, is that vegans are vegan because they want to live and they want to let others live. We don't want to take away the life of any living being. So that's exactly what we're doing, because we live and we let live. So that is everything I can think of for now that I find ironic. Some of these things people may say and debate that that's not really what irony is, but that's okay. That's just how I feel. And I will probably think of more things in the future, and I might start this as a mini series of, things I find ironic as a vegan. So thank you all for watching. Make sure if you enjoyed this video to either give a like or subscribe, or also comment. Let me know if there's any other ironies that you find as a vegan that maybe I didn't mention. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!